Hello friends, welcome to another video on my YouTube channel, and in this video I'll walk you through setup process of Node.js Express TypeScript backend application. I'll walk you through the entire setup process. Also, I'll share some tips and tricks so that you can very easily manage your Node.js Express TypeScript application. So let's get started. So I have a terminal and Visual Studio Code. I'm using all the setup process using pnpm command, but you can entirely follow the process using npm. I'll first say pnpm init. It will initialize empty project. Then what I'll do is that I'll install few things. I'll say pnpm add --save -dev. So these will be development dependencies. The first is TypeScript, tsx to run TypeScript files. Then @types node and @types express. I'll hit enter. This will add all the dependencies. As you can see, all the development dependencies are there. Then I'll pnpm add express and .env to read my environment file. Yeah, you can see both are there. Then I'll initialize my TypeScript config or ts config. I'll say pnpm tsc --init to initialize the TypeScript. You can see this is my ts config. Here I'll just modify two things. First, my root directory will be src, so all the code will be in src folder, and then I'll change this out dir to dist folder. I'll save this. So now I'll create src. I'll create .env. Here I'll create first index.ts file. This will be my entry point. So based on that, I'll come here. I'll say the build command is tsc. The run command, or the start command is node dist index.js, and my dev command is tsx --watch src index.ts. So when I say pnpm build, it will build the application. pnpm start, it will start the application from the dist. So when you do start, make sure you run build command first, and if I say dev, it will run this command. Here then what I'll do is that I'll create folder services. Here I'll write all the services for database, for all any kind of service will fall in here, and then you can manage into subfolders as well. For example, here I'll say config. So all the configuration of my application, for example index.ts, all the configuration of my application will fall here. Then models, all my models will fall here. Let's say routes, all my routes will go here. then controllers, all my controllers will fall into this folder. So in this way I'll manage my application. Anything which is static, which is not TypeScript code, and for example, let's say I have a data folder, and then I have, let's say, messages.json file. Okay, this has something, let's say message, and let's say this is a sample message. Now I want to read this into my application, so all those kind of information will stay out of the src folder. So what happens is that when you build the application, the dist folder will have access to this data folder, and you don't have to move this data into dist folder. So this way you can set up the application and set up the commands and the folders and everything. So now let's very quickly do few things. So here what I'll do is that I'll import Express, I'll import next function request response from Express. My bad, it is request. Then what I'll do is that I'll create const app equals to Express. Then I'll say const port will be processes.env.port. We will move this to this config folder. Then what I'll do is that I'll use a few things like express dot URL encoded, and I'll say extended equals to true. Then I'll use express dot JSON. Okay, I guess, yeah. And then I'll use kind of a middleware. Request. Okay, and oh my bad, this will go into a function. So request, which will be type of request, then response, which will be type of response, and then there will be a next function, I guess, that will be my next function. And what I'll do is that I'll console log request dot path. I'll console log request dot method, and any kind of middleware that you want to run. For example, let's say API key middleware. Okay, this will take request, response, and next function. Okay, and from that function you will just pass this next function. Like I'll just show you how we can do that. What we can do that is we can say next function. So that means do these things and then go to next function. So if you want to check API key to allow or disallow the request, you go there, you will have request, you will have response, and you will have next function. So we are not obviously going to use the response, but we'll use the next function, and you'll call next function, so it will go to the actual request path. And then what we will do here finally is we'll say, for example, here connect your routes here. So let's say app dot use, let's say home route, and then we will start the server by saying app dot listen, where on this port, run this function. We'll say console.log, server is up and running. Okay, and in case on, let's say error, get the error and run this function. We will just console error dot message. Okay, and this way you run the server. Now what I'll do is that here I'll say home route dot ts. For faster development, I'll just paste a few amount of code. So it is nothing, again the Express, it creates a router, it has get and post, both doing the same thing. It's doing, API is working okay, and we will export the router itself. So what we'll do here I'll say import home route from routes home route, and you can see that the error is gone now. So if I say pnpm dev, we'll see server is up and running, but we haven't defined the port number, so I'll say 5000. When I say save it, you can see it is restarted and it is there. And if I come here, okay, on the browser, and if we open this, we'll see API is working okay. What you can do is that I'm not sure async was needed here. What you can do is that get this thing, okay, and pass it to the controller. Let's say home route controller.ts, and we'll say const home route controller, and we'll pass everything there, and I'll import request and response to get rid of the error. And here is a complete code. Okay, so when I save this, what you can do is that either you can create index.ts and then export from this, which is my home route controller, and then here what you can do is that import from controllers, and I'll say home route controller, and I'll pass this home route controller here. And I guess, yeah, we don't need to use this return statement. Yeah, so this way if I save this, and obviously we can get rid of this part as well, and I'll say home controller as well. And let's see, yeah, server is up and running. So if we come here, I refresh this, we get okay, and something is not, I guess, send, I guess status, my bad. Yeah, so yeah, I missed that. So I was using send status. So when you use send status, you can't use send after that, but if you set the status and then you can use send. So that's why, and if you can see here, it is working completely fine. So this way you can create the controllers route. Obviously you can create models, database models, and then use it here in database services as well. One more thing I want to show you is that under config index.txt file, what you can do is you can read the environment file. What I'll do is that import .env from .env, and then I'll say .env.config, okay, and then I'll say export const config that is equal to, let's say, port, and that will be process.env.port, okay, and if it is not there, I'll say 5000. So now what you can do is here you create a variable called port, and let's say 5000. I'll save this, and here I'll not use it this way, but I'll say config coming from config dot port, okay, and I'll save this. And I guess I need to restart the application because we have made change into the .env file, but still if we come here after running it, you'll see the API is working completely fine, and you can see we get log as well, okay, these things. So this home route and this with the get method, and we went to next. Finally, in case you want to write a middleware, you can write it as well, but I guess that will be a simple function like this, and inside that function you will just call this. So I guess this is it from my side, and if you really like, I'll create readme.md file, and I'll put all the commands here, and then in the git ignore file I'll not node underscore modules .env, I'll not push these things, and then you can have your application. So I guess this is it from my side. I hope you have gained some knowledge and now you understand how to build or set up your Node.js Express application with TypeScript, and you can use the type safety throughout the application. If you have any question or suggestion, please comment in the video. I'll get back to you, and if there is a suggestion, I'll try to use that suggestion. Finally, if you find my work helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel. That helps. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the life, feel the music. Peace.